A good thing about tier lists is that you can rank anything you want, like who's your favorite psychopath in Breaking Bad. She definitely killed somebody.
Well, maybe you should just go ahead and die then.
Unfortunately, this means that everyone online can see your opinion and base your entire personality off of that. You can also create a tier list based off facts. Just look at this. It's a tier list that shows which game is Sonic Frontiers. Wait, you got something wrong. Much better. Right now, I'm going to rank every Mario Kart game, because let's face it, you're still watching iceberg videos. It's not 2020 anymore, wake up. I will talk about every game individually and discuss the pros and cons. This tier list is subjective, but I'm still trying to be fair to all entries. Meanwhile, you can comment down below how wrong I am, and we'll see if I'm gonna listen to you or not. Let's go! Let's rip the band-aid off and start off with the games I didn't play. Those are Mario Kart Arcade GP, Arcade GP 2, Live Home Circuit, and that one VR arcade game. I would just leave it at that, but there is something I need to say before we move on, and that's about Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. I never had a reason to buy that game because of its ridiculously high pricing, but it's the funniest entry in the Mario Kart series, and all you need is a $100 toy and pets to get an experience similar to Jurassic Park.
Oh god! A new monster has entered! Tetra, no! She's fearless!
Now that we have that done, we'll start with the first game. Yeah, Super Mario Kart didn't age well. The controls feel slippery, the tracks are boring with some of them having stupid gimmicks. Like this one has a dead end! Who the fuck designed that? The CPUs only use their own items, the survival system is ass because their rubber banding is just stupid, because they just go back to their position where they belong to. There are 5 laps to complete instead of 3. Okay, which to be fair, the tracks aren't that long, so I can kind of forgive this one. But it still feels weird to drive 5 laps instead of 3. The map is way too big and personally I really don't like how it looks. And then we have battle mode. It only has 4 stages, unless you're looking for variety, then there are only 2. It's really unenjoyable for me to play the game, and the only reason why I would play the game is for nostalgia only. The things that I do like in this game are most of the sprites and the soundtrack. I know that this is the first Mario Kart game, but Nintendo never tried to re-release a better version of the game, and it got re-released a lot. You would think that with so many re-releases, Nintendo would eventually add something new, but nope. At the very least, fans do what Nintendo don't with mods. Now that everything has been said, this game deserves to be thrown in the trash or sold in a garage sale for $2.
Mario Kart.
Most things mentioned in Super Mario Kart could also apply to Mario Kart 64. The controls have slightly improved, but still somewhat messy. The track looks way better, but some of them still have stupid gimmicks like Kalimari Desert and Yoshi's Valley. Also, Wario Stadium and Rainbow Road are so long, it feels like I'm playing Desert Bus again. CPU's biggest problem is rubber banding, but was also a problem in the previous game. This one's more notable. It's actually because of rubber banding why the racing sucks, that's why I can't rank it that much higher. But on the bright side, the battle mode doesn't suck this time. Anyways, compared to Super Mario Kart, Mario Kart 64 has a 4-player multiplayer instead of a 2-player like in the previous game. So that alone makes it better, but it's not really good. The game has a reputation online for being the worst Mario Kart in the series, which I don't personally agree with. I still think Super Mario Kart is worse, but people probably say that because of Diddy Kong Racing existing on the same console. Honestly, who knows? It's probably that. Let's face it, Diddy Kong Racing is a really good game. Mario Kart Super Circuit is the first game where I have nothing negative to talk about. Characters having their own stats shown for the first time is great. Individual character stats did exist in prior games, but they were invisible. Tracks are mostly fine, with a few exceptions. It also introduces Retro Cups, and with that it was possible to play all Super Mario Kart tracks in that game. It also has a 4-player mode like a Mario Kart 64. Sadly, I never played it because it was with the GBA link cable. I never experienced the multiplayer here. I think that's a major drawback to ranking these games. I cannot rank this higher. If Nintendo releases this game on the Switch with online, I would definitely rank that higher. My only problem in this game is that the controls are just really weird. It feels like I'm drifting on ice the entire playthrough. But other than that, the game offers new courses where all of them are fun to drive through, and they're connected to each other. I wasn't a huge fan of the All Cup tour at first, where you drive through every track again, but the tour gave me an opportunity for challenge runs, like no drifting or no items allowed. The 2-player and 1-card gimmick is what I enjoyed the most. It's the most memorable aspect of Mario Kart Double Dash. I will get to that a bit later though. The game introduces special items for every character. Granted, every partner shares their special item. For example, Mario and Luigi share fireballs, and Toad and Toadette use golden mushrooms. We have more than double the amount of characters separated in different weight groups, but this doesn't mean you're restricted to a specific weight group. However, you are restricted to a different card weight group depending on your chosen character. With all this now said, I'll talk about what makes this game great. The game allows you to create your own playstyle with characters and cards. For example, you could play Toad and Daisy. Toad would be your combat character if you're in trouble, and Daisy would be your defensive character if you need to protect yourself. But this combination will lock you in the medium card category. I forgot to mention that every character has their own vehicle, but you're not restricted to them either. Battle mode now features new modes with unique maps to them, and the multiplayer is the most interesting that it ever has been. This is the only Mario Kart that allows you to play co-op where 2 players share 1 card. But that's not where it stops. If you have a Nintendo GameCube broadband adapter, you could play LAN mode, and the setup, well, it needed a lot of GameCubes. For this, it was possible to play with a maximum of 16 players, making this the biggest Mario Kart you could play. And here's the problem, I could never experience it. So going back to what I said at Super Circuit, I would have ranked this higher, but I'm not going to. Here we go! Mario Kart DS. Let's start with the negatives. Okay, now let's talk about the positives. Gameplay wise, everything is perfect. From the character selections to cards to tracks to music to battle mode maps, everything's been implemented greatly. The mode that sticks out is mission mode. The missions go from collecting coins or driving through gates to boss battle. I love how Nintendo put a lot of effort into the single player alone. And then there's multiplayer. Up to 8 people can play if there's at least one guy with a copy of the game. Even though you are restricted to only 8 cups and 1 character, the races you can enter are a lot of fun. For those who know what I'm talking about, this is a school bus moment. And if you had no friends, well, this game introduced online, so problem solved. Much like Mario Kart DS, the game has an interesting selection of tracks, characters, and vehicles. And there's also mission mode, but I never played mission mode. And here we have my first and only problem. The game is unbalanced. Nintendo includes bikes alongside karts. Karts can charge their drift to get along with mini turbo. Bikes can't do that, but they instead can perform wheelies at any time they desire. And there are 2 types of bikes. There are the inside drifting ones and the outside drifting ones. Inside drifting bikes are the meta in this game. For example, they can take corners easier and they're much easier to control. I could ramble more about how broken this game is, however, other people have done that for me. So let me rant on how there are 3 Mario tracks in the Retro Grand Prix. Now, all things considered, the game is iconic for a lot of things, like the characters and vehicles, the shortcuts, online music, and many more. So yeah, do I still need to talk about this game? I thought so.
Mario Kart 7!
Mario Kart 7 introduced the player to a lot of things, like driving on water, gliding, kart customization, new It's expected that the number of characters will be lowered from the previous game, like a Mario Kart DS, but the inclusion of Mel Mario and Honey Queen doesn't sit right with me. Sure, Baby Daisy never existed canonically, but at the very least, I have a huge roster in that game. Well, like I said, Honey Queen, I just don't like her, and Mel Mario is just a Mario clone, who would have thought? As for the card customization, it's a great feature, but the way to unlock it is horrible. Mario Kart 7 brought back coins as an item and collectibles. You can only collect up to 10 per race. To unlock everything, you need a maximum of 20,000 coins, meaning that the minimum number of races to play is 2,000 if you manage to get even 10 coins per race to begin with. Sure, 10,000 is basically for everything that isn't gold, but since the gameplay does differentiate with characters and card pieces, it is kind of a problem. But despite that, the game is pretty good. Sadly, it's also forgettable. The new features of gliding and underwater driving are implemented really well, and it's even better on the retro tracks. Mario Kart 7 has a lot of highs, but also its lows, and I personally think that the inclusion of coins has ruined the game in a certain way. Overall, there is room for improvement.
You thought I would move on to Mario Kart 8, but nope. Mario Kart Arcade GP DX is one of the 4 arcade machines made by Namco. So except for paying every round, the item limit lowered to free, my gas pedal not functioning, the weird menu controls, and the lack of gameplay options, yeah, the game can be fun.
I am running out of time. I can't finish what I started. This is where my story ends.
Mario Kart 8!
Oh look, it's the only reason to buy a Wii U. And he tried to convince me with that. The game allows you to drive on ceilings and walls now. How innovative. Anyways, the tracks are fun, the soundtrack is great, the best thing about the game are the controls, and that's about it. The game brings back card customizations and bikes, so that's cool. They even balance the inside drifting bikes. However, the character select screen is... well, how do I put it? How did Bowser Jr. not make the list, but his siblings did? Who is your dad? Nintendo really loves Mario and Peach. That's all I can say. The online is pretty good, but battle mode is terrible. They took courses from the game and turned them into battle mode arenas. Funniest thing I've ever seen. The game is really good, but it's nothing special to me. I would say the game is pretty inoffensive gameplay wise. The same problem with coins that I mentioned before is present here too. What is the purpose of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? You don't need this garbage anymore. The game has even more characters, actual battle mode stages, and new game modes to it too, new card pieces, and more tracks from the Booster Pack DLC, which is still ongoing. Are there any downsides? You have to pay for online, that's it, and the game is an improvement from the last one. But really, fuck you Nintendo, why do I have to fucking pay $25 for this shit? Come on. Well, this is Meme Post, and you wouldn't believe what happened. Nintendo literally just released the third wave of the DLC. It did get an item customization update, so yeah, it definitely goes a bit higher. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. I better start at the beginning. When the new Mario Kart was announced on mobile devices, I was kinda hooked. Mainly because of the Sonic racing game that was also released on iPhones. Well, with that game now being out, and 2 years later, what do I think of it? Okay, I think we can all agree what the biggest problem is. Gacha. For those who don't know what that is, it's basically gambling to get a better chance to have an advantage against other players. There are 3 rarity types, normal, super and high end. Usually when rolling for characters, card pieces or gliders, there's a 74% chance of that being a normal roll, a 20% chance of being a super roll, and a 6% chance of being a high end roll. The pity does increase the more you pull, but it resets every 1 to 2 weeks, or basically every tour. To even roll on a banner, you needed rubies, but the game barely gave rubies for free, so the gacha was everything but generous. Microtransactions were the way, and whales ruled the world once again. How much did the gacha influence the gameplay? I'll start with the main gimmick of the game. You need to collect as many points as possible to get a maximum of 5 stars in every race. The earlier cups are pretty easy, but it gets harder to reach the 5-star ranking in the later ones. And this is where the gacha comes to play. Before you start a race, you need to choose a racer, a card piece, and a glider. Depending on the rarity, you can get a couple of points, which isn't really that big of a deal, but there is more to it. Every character, card piece and glider has their own list on where they perform the best. Characters can use up to 3 items at the same time, card pieces give you more points based on your performances, and gliders can extend the combo so you could rack up more points at the end. And high-end items are more likely to get more track favors than normal or super have. It was possible to get high-end items from the shop if you had the money for it. And yes, it was expensive. Speaking of expensive, there was the Gold Pass, which was a subscription, of course. You get premium challenges, also the game has challenges, but they are pretty boring. Where you're able to get rubies, high-end items and more. And you could also play on 200cc. Yes everybody, the fun mode is behind the freaking paywall.
And we also had this.
Who the fuck are... And you wonder why I'm gay.
Do I really have to tell you how ridiculous this is? But how is the game without your wallet? It's kind of fun. The controls are weird, but you get used to it. Every character has a special item, but some of them share it. For example, Baby Mario and Baby Luigi use the boomerang flower. Every card piece has a special skill, like a better jump boost that gives you more points. Every glider increases the chance to get a specific item like mushrooms or red shells. This doesn't include special items though. If you get the best combination of a track, it's a blast. Without going into reverse and remix tracks, the best thing that can happen to you is to get a frenzy. Frenzies are activated when you have 3 of the same items. During a frenzy you can spam the item as much as you want, and you're granted invincibility throughout it. There are exceptions with Blooper and Shock that only hit one opponent at a time and hits everyone once, making it more of a target use since your target is the rival one place ahead of you. And the next thing is to keep the combo till the very end. From start to finish, you cannot drop the combo once, or you get to start from square 1 again. Every cup also has a mission at the end, which is fine. And that's all the positive things I could say for the game. The online is fine, and really there isn't anything interesting going on. Battle mode was included later, but that's like whatever. The original tracks are fun to drive. However, there isn't a single Mario Kart 8 track. In fact, the anti-gravity gimmick from Mario Kart 8 is missing as well. Anyways, playing reverse and remix versions of certain tracks is really fun, and that's it. Listen, I wanted to give this game a chance, but sadly the damage has already been done. The god-awful loot boxes and microtransactions already tainted the view of many, mine included. It's pretty common that the Mario Kart series has their ups and downs in each title. Mario Kart has the highest ups and the lowest downs in the series. This game had a lot of potential, and a lot of it has gone to waste. And there you have it. Listing every Mario Kart game based on facts and logic is really fun. Putting effort into a video that only 20 people will watch is not. Please like, subscribe and watch Deconaut 5 and Deco Plus 5. What is the purpose of this video except for gaslighting you into thinking a bad game is actually a good game? Which is something I did before, and yes, I will do it again. If you remember my bomb country video, which is a pretty good video that you should definitely watch, I created a tier list where I ranked every matchup with bomb in Kirby Fighters 2. My goal here is to show you, the viewer, how much thought I put in by ranking these. I chose the Mario Kart series as today's topic because of the experience that I collected over the years, and I wanted to share those to you, even though Mario Kart tier lists have been done to death. I see you all. Remember the good times you always had. Merry Christmas.